I do it according to industry standards. So if you want to know how to build a shower correctly, this is the place for you. Master bathroom today. So as always, there's always some kind of issue. There's no drain. Well, it looks like there's no drain. This piece of plywood's actually loose. You just gotta cut a hole there. This is the existing plumbing that was there, and the plumber didn't take off the body sprays, so now he's got to come and take these off because I don't want to break them because they're going to put those back. So I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out those are going to come off when you're doing it in the bathroom. Also left the handle on here. I don't know why, but it is what it is. This wall, it's going to need a little bit of work to stiffen that up a bit. But anyway, let's see if we can get this bathroom going. My name is Sal DiBlasi. I'm a tile contractor in the business for 40 years. If you want to know how to install a tile installation, floor, wall, shower, whatever, the correct way according to TCNA and manufacturer recommendations, this is the channel for you. I don't give you my opinion. I don't do it how I was shown 40 years ago. I don't do it how I think it should be done. I do it according to industry standards. So if you want to know how to build a shower correctly, this is the place for you. So when you're cutting holes in floors for plumbing and stuff, you got to make sure that you put blocking in so you don't get any movement on the floor that's going to make it cause problems for the tile. Let me show you what I mean. So as you can see here, they cut out this piece here. That piece has to be screwed in. There's no blocking here yet, so that's going to have to be taken care of. So they put blocking here on this one, as you can see, and you know, there's no movement there. It's not moving at all. Nice and strong and firm. But they didn't put any blocking here. So what happens is you get this movement. See how that goes up and down? Yeah, it goes up and down there. You need blocking there, so there's no movement. So here's a perfect example. So see, we need blocking here and there, and then when you cut that one's fine because it's on the joist. This one's fine because it's on the joist, but we need to put the blocking here as well because it's on the joist. But you know, we could cut this back, but then the plywood that goes in there is going to be short, so we need to put a little piece of blocking in here as well so that we don't get any cracked tiles. Okay, so got the hole in the plywood and got some strapping. Actually, here's a piece of 2x4 over here, and that's a piece of plywood because I didn't have the thickness. And I got that one done also. This is all blocked in and screwed in, and that's all blocked in and screwed in. So now I'm just going to put the plywood on here, and then I can start boarding. Okay, so to get ready to install the board, I checked the walls to make sure that they were flat. Here, this knee wall over here, this is no. And I put my level on it to check to see if it's flat. If it's flat, and it's actually pretty good. So on this wall here, I did the same thing to check to see if it was flat, and then when I put my level across here, it touches there, but I was short a quarter of an inch in this corner here, so I ripped the shim out of a piece of 2x4, 1/4 inch, and I just tacked it on over there. Now I'm going to cut this piece and tack it on over here. On this side, this stud over here was bowed out and sticking out, so I just chopped off some of that corner, and this stud here is bowed in a little bit, so I shimmed it out with, you can do this with foam board. I shimmed it out with some 1/16 inch horseshoe spacers so that I'm flat. So when I put my board on here now, I'm going to have a flat surface for my tile. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your studs are all in line. If they're not in line, then remediate the problem. Don't just stick your board on there, because everything you do from the studs out is just going to compound the situation. So get it right first, do your prep work, make sure you get the studs all in plane, and then once you put your board on, you'll have a flat surface and you're not going to have a problem tiling. So let's get our first piece of board on. Okay, so I got the 3 bottom sheets on, and it's getting late because I had to wait for the carpenter for fix the floor. I had to I'm waiting for the plumber to fix some stuff over here. So I got these 3 bottom sheets on, and I guess maybe get that one back sheet up there and these here, and then I gotta call it a day because I have to wait for the plumber to fix these screw ups. Okay, so I got all the board up, and I still gotta work on the curb. I gotta put the foam curb in, and then the wire lath, and then the mud. So I got all, as I said, I got all the board up. It's all ready to go. I got a couple pieces of 2-inch foam ripped. However, I'm only going to put one piece of this 2-inch foam here, because I can use that as a screed to my drain. So I'll put that one in, and then once I get my mud in, then I'll put the other one on and waterproof everything. So let me work on this curb here. Okay, so I got the Flow Effects drain body in, and that is from here to there is just under 3 feet. So I need a 1/4 inch per foot pitch or fall from the curb to the drain. So this is 2 inches, and that over there is 3/4 of an inch lower than this here. It has to be, actually, the fall has to be between 1/4 and 1/2 inch per foot. So what I've got here is just a little more than 1/4 inch per foot. So from here to there, that drain body is a little more than 3/4 of an inch below the curb. I'm going to use, because this is 2 inches, and I'm going to put 2 inches all around the perimeter. I'm going to use this as a screed. So I put this in perfectly level. When I put the mud in, I'm going to put a 2-inch border all the way around of mud so that my perimeter is completely level. And then I'm going to use this to drag my screed across to get my pitch to the drain. And then as I go around, I will also use my perimeter screed to shape my mud so that it falls to the... I've already got the perimeter all done. I'm going to show you that in a second. If you need, or if you want to know how to do that, I have many videos detailing exactly how to put a mud shower pan into a shower. So let me show you what I got here. Oh yeah, I'm using the 2-inch foam as my screed. So I got all the perimeter all the way around. This is all done. Now I'm going to fill in the back part, and once I got the back part all filled in, I am going to do the front part here, screeding off the foam. Then when I am done with the mud, I'll put the rest of the foam on to create the curb. Okay, so I got all my perimeter down, as I said. I got that back section done, which is sloped to the drain. I'm using Laddercrete 209. I'm using an auger to mix, on a 1/2-inch drill, to mix the mud, and I'm using a dust hog with a vac to control the dust. So let me mix up probably going to be another 2.5 bags to get the rest of this mud done. So far, what you see there, that's 2 bags. And I'm gonna say probably 2.5, 3 bags to do the rest. Okay, so I got it all done. Got all the mud in. So from here to there, it drops 3/4 of an inch. From the back wall to there, it also drops 3/4 a little more than 3/4 of an inch. I give it slightly more than 1/4 inch per foot. But so I have a level perimeter all the way around. So my tile on the bottom's going to be all the same size. So next thing here is finish the curb, waterproof everything, and then we can start the tile. Okay, so it's the next day. The mud has had a chance to dry, and now I'm going to seal everything up and waterproof it. So let me show you. So this is my membrane for the shower floor. And then I have banding over there somewhere, I'll get in a second. And so I'm going to be putting banding all the way around the perimeter. I'm going to put an outside corner here and 4 inside corners and another outside corner here. And then I'm going to wrap the membrane all the way over and around to make this completely watertight. Once I do that, everything is going to be completely watertight. And then we can flood test it tomorrow, make sure there are no leaks. My name is Sal DiBlasi. I'm a tile contractor in the business for 40 years. I don't give you my opinion. I don't do it how I was shown 40 years ago. I don't do it how I think it should be done. I do it according to industry standards. So if you want to know how to build a shower correctly, this is the place for you. So I got the banding and the inside and outside corners in. And I always put the banding down first and the corners down first, so that when I put the membrane down, I don't have to be on top of the membrane. I'm messing that up while I'm trying to put the banding on. And yes, the manufacturers say you can do it that way. Doesn't matter what order you put it in. You can put the banding in first or you can put it in afterwards. Doesn't matter. You're going to get a lot of people that say, well, the water's got to shed, blah, 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 blah. It's not true. Don't even go there, because it doesn't matter. If the manufacturer says it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so I got the banding in over here, up there, down here. I got all the corners in. I'm going to fold the membrane up that side, and then I'm going to fold it up and around the curb here. Okay, so it's all done. I mean, all sealed up, all ready for flood testing tomorrow. I got it all sealed up. I actually brought the membrane. I had it, so when I use it, I brought it over the curb and onto the shower floor. There's going to be heated floor on here. So I also always put some water in the drain. So you want to make sure that when you're doing a flood test, that the test plug that you're using isn't leaking. So normally I will put a little bit of water in the drain assembly and then let it sit for a few hours or even overnight, and then come back and make sure that the water's still there. That way I know the test plug isn't leaking. The last thing you want is for you to do a flood test and find that you have a leak and then go crazy trying to find it, and it's a test plug itself that's leaking. So always make sure that your test plug is sealed and it's not leaking any water. See that where that test plug is over there in that gray area there? I put a little bit of water in there so that didn't reach up to the membrane. So that way when I came back, I left it overnight. When I came back, the water was still in there at the same level, and I knew my test plug was fine. Now I fill the rest with water, and I mark the level over there. Mark the level over there, and now I am flood testing. I'm gonna let this sit for 24 hours. Come back, if the water is at the same level, then we're good. If it's not, then we have a problem. I have never had a flood test fail, although I have had leaks. Well, they weren't my leaks, and the reason I flood test is that way I am certain there is no leak. So on a couple of occasions, I had the contractor come in, and then the plumbers come in, and they turn the water on, and then there's a leak. And I know there is no leak because I flood tested. So, and the contractor saw that it was flood tested, and I reminded, look, listen, we flood tested this pan. It's not my leak. So they look a little deeper, come to find out there was a fitting that was leaking. So they blame the tile guy. First thing they do is blame the tile guy. Another time, the shower was all done. The glass guy came in, put all the glass in. They turned the shower on, and they used it for a couple of weeks and found that there was a leak. And I flood tested that one too, so I knew it wasn't my leak. So they sent a picture of where it was leaking. I looked very carefully, and I can see in the picture that on the bottom track where the glass hits the curb, they didn't silicone it, and the water was coming out of the glass track. So the glass guy came back, he put the silicone in. That was the end of that. Once again, blame the tile guy. Wasn't the tile guy's fault. Okay, so the flood test was good, and now I'm gonna install the floor tile, and if I got time, I install that seat as well. So I'm gonna cut all this tile in and then cement it down. Okay, so I got the tile all cut in. It's centered, full tile in the back, same piece on either side, a smaller piece on front. The curb is going to cover that, so it's going to look like it's a full piece over here when you look in. Okay, so the floor's all in, the seat's on. Next are the sills for the knee wall and the curb. Okay, so it must have been pretty cool in here last night when I set the shower floor. So I took the homeowner, and there's really no heat in here, and they closed the door. So it got pretty cool in here. Not so cold that it's going to cause any problems. However, it did slow down the curing of the thin set for the shower floor. So we're going to resolve that problem tonight. I'm going to put a little heater in the room with a thermostat just to keep it around 65 degrees. So let me show you what happens when the thin set doesn't cure and you try and pull the plastic off the tile. So there's plastic on here. On these tiles, there's plastic. Let me see if I can get a corner here somewhere. Yeah, there's plastic on here, and it's on there pretty tight. So when I went to pull that plastic off, I pulled up a tile here, and that just shows me that I got really good coverage, but it's pretty damp still. So I don't want to be walking on this tile and setting tile while it's still like this, because it could break the bond, and I'm gonna have problems. So I'm gonna let this set for another day. I'm gonna reset this tile here in here when I set these sills. Okay, so I cut these 2 sills to length, and I polished this edge here so that it matches the top, and I polished that corner down there. And so now when when I set this will have a nice finished front. I don't want it to overhang here too much, and by the time I'm done with this, it's gonna overhang. By the time I get the tile on here and on this side here, the overhang on this side and this side will be about the same. So I'm gonna set these sills, reset that tile, and then maybe we'll do some layout. Okay, so the sills are on, and I got them taped so they won't move over there. I mean, you'd have to knock them pretty hard to make them move. And so it's level that way, and it's tilted that way, so the water will run into the shower, and the same with the curb. Level like this and tilted that way, so any water that runs on the curb will go into the shower. You don't want to make that pitch too steep, because if you put the door in the middle And if it's too steep, then the door, when it opens, might interfere. I've seen it happen when people put it like really high angle, but you don't want it too shallow either, because then the water doesn't run off. So you want to make sure you give it at least a 1/4 inch per foot so the water runs off, but you don't want it really steep so that when you put the door on, it interferes with the bottom of the door. Let's talk about layout. I have this shower that I have a 12-inch by 24-inch tile that I have to install on these walls. So the first thing to note is that a tile that's 12 inches by 24 inches that's the nominal size, and most of the time it's not actually 12 inches by 24 inches. In fact, this tile is 11 3/4 by 23 1/2. So 23 1/2 and 11 3/4. Always make sure you check the actual dimensions of the tile before you start installing. Don't assume that it's 12 inches by 20. There are some that are actually 12 inches by 24 inches, but most are not going to be exactly that size. So for this tile here, it's, as I said, it's not exactly 12 inches by 24 inches, but I can just use that measurement, 12 by 24, to get a rough idea. If the tile size is going to be close, as far as, you know, if I'm going to get a sliver or something, then I'll measure the actual size to figure out what my piece is going to be. But for now, I'm just going to assume that it's 12 inches by 24 inches to get an idea of what my layout's going to be. I put a line here that goes down to the sill there, where my tile's going to end. I'm going to use this line here to figure out what piece I'm going to get in the corner, and then I have another line here on this side that goes up and down for where the tile is going to end over here, and that way I can figure out what this is here. So if I measure this here, so 24 and 48. So I have just 2 full tiles here, and then a little bit less than a half piece. And then I'm going to measure 12 inches here to see what my piece would be over there on the other side, which is actually going to be about the same size as this piece here. So if I know that this piece here is 6 inches, then I know the piece that wraps around is going to be 18 inches. So let's measure 18 inches over here, 24 inches over here, and that gives me about an 8-inch piece over here. So that works out pretty good. So what I'm going to do is, when I install this tile, I'm going to cut the tile in the corner, and then I'm going to use the piece that falls off to wrap that corner. So that works out good. So I have, this is my line where the full tile is, but seeing it's a running one, my 12 inches over here, and the other piece I'm going to get is going to be about 21 inches. So I have this works out okay, but I also have to check what I'm going to get in this corner here. So my level, so I can bring a line down here, and this is all, it's just approximate, it's not so close that I can't use this layout. So I'm going to get down there, and I'm going to get about a 4-inch piece. So I want this to be nice, because when you walk in the door, you're going to see this piece. You're not going to see the piece down here. So I'm going to give preference to this piece, because I want this piece to look nice when you walk in. So you got a nice layout, and this piece you're not going to see, So this one can be a little bit smaller. Typically you want to try and get no less than a half tile, but it's a matter of compromises. So I'm going to do the same thing from here. 24. 24. So the piece down here that comes into here is going to be okay, because I'll just make sure that when I start, if I get a big piece here, I'll start with a smaller piece here. And that'll actually look good. And I've got a niche here that I have to figure out a little bit later on. Okay, so now I got this way. I got lucky on this one because it just worked out easy. An easy route. A lot of times you have to make a bunch of compromises to figure out what's going to be the layout, because you come around here, you get a good piece here, and then you get a sliver over here, so then you have to move it over a little bit and make compromises. So you just want to make sure you get the biggest pieces possible and that you use the least amount of tile, because you don't want to be throwing away half a tile, an 11-inch piece, every time you make a cut. So now we're going to figure out up and down. So the floor to the ceiling, remember I lose a ½ inch for every tile that I put up, because it's only, oh no, actually it's 11 3/4, so I lose a 1/4 inch, actually an 1/8 inch, because it's going to be making this route line. So it's 11 3/4. So I got, call it 10 inches. So I'm going to lose about an inch by the time I get to the bottom for the height. So that'll actually make that almost an 11-inch piece. But I want to see what I get over here. And that's actually not bad, because I get a decent sized piece there. So that will work on there as well. If I start with a full tile here, I get a very good sized piece on the top, and I'll get about a 4-inch piece under here, which isn't bad. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the layout. This was an easy one. A lot of times, if you get to the ceiling, you got a 2-inch piece on the ceiling, then obviously you're going to have to cut the floor tile to make that inch that bigger. And this, you always have to make sure that you check what your piece is going to be on your seat as well. Under the curve here, this is going to be a little sliver, so that's fine. So that's my layout. I'm going to start with a full tile over here. I'm going to start with the full tile over here and wrap these corners. Okay, so this was a quick layout. Actually, well, it took me 10 minutes to figure out. Sometimes a layout's going to take you an hour to figure out, because you start in one spot and you get a sliver somewhere else, or it doesn't work in another corner, or you got a bigger bathroom, or you got more ins and outs, and sometimes it just doesn't work and you have to make a compromise. Sometimes you're going to have to get a smaller piece somewhere to make it look better where you're actually going to see it. So in this case, it was quick, it was easy. Okay, so to give you an idea of what that's actually going to look like, I put some lines on the wall to represent the tile. So I'm going to start out with a half tile here and a full tile here. So that gives me half, full, and then it gives me a good sized piece there, and then the wrap is here. Then on the next one, this wrap is more or less the same size as that wrap and lands over here and over here. And that gives me this piece at the end and this piece on the end here, and then it gives me like a 4-inch piece over here. On this side I didn't lay it out, but it's going to look more or less the same as this here. So, and then up and down, like I said, full tile on the bottom, like a 10-inch piece on the top, works out really good. So spend time on your layout and get the best layout possible. I could try and tweak this, but I'm happy with this layout. I think it's going to look balanced and it's going to look good. Okay, so I got the tile started. I started on the plumbing wall because this had to be a full tile here and a half tile. So I'm going to start here so that I don't screw up. If I start over there, then I could screw up. But this way I'm safe. That way I start with a full and a half. I go around. It takes time to make all these holes and all these cuts here. But this wall here should go a lot quicker. And here I gotta install a niche when I get to it. So there's a lot of cutting and fitting, but it's the nature of tile. Okay, so I got some tile up. Next we'll finish these two walls and get this knee wall and put in a niche. I cut the niche in today, and so that's ready to go for tomorrow. So let me show you where I'm at. So I got this much tile on to here. I got a couple more rows to go up there, and then I got this wall here. It's gonna be a full tile on the top, full tile on the bottom. This tile is gonna be wrapped around to here, and then I'm actually gonna have the tile's gonna go half, so it's gonna go to here, and then so I got a big piece there, and I got a big piece there. So okay, moving along. I'll show you when it's all done. Okay, so moving along with the tile. This wall is completely done. The niche is done. That piece of tile there in the cubby, so the pattern looks like it goes through. It just looks like that tile was pushed back. I got under the curb here. Under the curb is done. And under the seat is also done. The only thing I installed, all the tile is done. Floating corner bench seat, 6-inch sill, another 6-inch sill, 2x2 tile on the floor, floor flex drain. That floating seat has 2-inch foam as a support, and it's all clad in tile. A little niche, they wanted a very small one, they didn't want a big one. And 12 by 24-inch tile on the walls with the corners folded in the corner. So that piece and that piece, one tile, that's one tile, that's one tile, that's one tile, etc. all the way up and down. So the grain follows around the corner. Okay, so got the floor heat down. This is a 240 volt wire, and it's tested. Once when I took it out of the box, and once after I put it in the floor here, I used up my leftover thin set here, so you don't waste it. I just squared off, you saw me square off the room and get a control line down. It's not perfectly square, but it's good enough. So it's off about 1/4 of an inch. So I actually shifted the line just like 1/8 of an inch that way to compensate for that being off square and that being off square. So now I'm gonna lay some tile and check to see what pieces I get. Because this distance is the same as here to there, because that was the center line. Let me just check, double check. From there to there, 69. So I put a line here to indicate this wall here. So that piece, because this is the center between this space and that space. This piece here is going to be the same as that piece there. That's really good. And then I'm not too concerned what it's going to be at the tub area because it's going to be covered by the tub. As long as it's a decent piece, it'll work. So you can measure from this tip of the corner to the wall, and it's 74. And then you measure from this tip, which would be a corresponding tip here, and go back 34. And this is the piece that you would get right there. So that's behind the tub. So I am actually just going to leave that. And just to double check to make sure that that's right, let's throw some pieces down. So that's 4 inches there, and that's about 4 inches there. So this is what I'm going to use for my layout. Okay, so I'm going to start with a full piece there, and that gives me a full piece at that wall there. Just got lucky that way this time around. And then I'm going to start off my center line here, and that gives me a decent sized piece here. I don't know if you can see that pencil line right there, and that's going to be the same over there. In the back there, it's going to be a smaller piece, but that's behind the tub, so it doesn't really matter. I could move it over this way and get the smaller piece over here, but then that would screw me up over here, and I want a nice big piece over here to make it look nice. So this is the layout I'm going to go with. Okay, so this is where I screwed up. See, this is how you can screw up with these tabs. See how I got this tip here and this tip here? I started my tile on with this tip here when I should have started with this tip here. So that means I have to move this all over so this tip lines up with the line, because then now I don't have the proper pieces. Okay, so I got this all kind of here. We're gonna make some cement. This makes it easy just to go because these are all gonna be the same cut, so I can cut a bunch of these. So I got this little straight edge here to guide me so that I can see exactly how to start and where to put my towel, because I'm gonna pick this up and then start and set this down. That's really good coverage. No need to back bother. Okay, so it's all done. Tomorrow I'll put the base on from here, around here to that corner there, because I'm going to wait for the vanity to be able to put that piece of base on and that piece of base on. Master bathroom done. Let's take a quick look. So on the floor, we have, I think it's like a 10-inch hexagon tile with a 16-inch by 4-inch base capped with a Schluter metal. It goes all the way around the bathroom. I still got to put in a piece from here to where the vanity ends. Can't do that till the vanity comes in. And also there's going to be a little piece from that door casing to the vanity. So we got a floating corner bench seat, 6-inch sill, another 6-inch sill, 2x2 tile on the floor, floor flex drain. That floating seat has 2-inch foam as a support, and it's all clad in tile. A little niche. They wanted a very small one. They didn't want a big one. And 12 by 24-inch tile on the walls with the corners folded in the corner. So that piece and that piece, one tile, that's one tile, that's one tile, That's one tile, etc., all the way up and down. So the grain follows around the corner. We got a heated main floor with a 240 volt Schluter Dietrich heat system. There's going to be a tub over there. There's going to be a big vanity here. So the only part that's really heated is this center section going all the way down here. No need to heat the under the toilet. No need to heat beside the toilet. No need to heat on the sides where the tub is going to go. So just this main central area here is heated. So that's pretty much it for this master bath.